the GreenWay Startup Show. My name is Brigitte Ballai. The place to be to learn how to have a business and the life you want. Today we have prepared for you a story of a passionate business owner. Mallorie is not only a rising fashion designer with her own fashion line, but also a highly inspiring figure who has been helping women all around to get their self-confidence back. Mallorie builds her business giving as much value as she can to her customers. She is not only designing for big size models and the clothes are available in her online store, but also soon her pop-up store with various programs will be available for walk-ins for her customers in New York City. Watch the interview that was brought to you as by our guest host today, Stephanie Salwinska. Enjoy the show.
Hi there, my name is Stefania Salwinska. I'm a filmmaker, and today I have the pleasure to be a fill-in host for the show. Hi Mallorie, thanks for meeting me so early.
Yeah, of course.
So, you have a very exciting story to share, so I'm not going to stop you any longer and I'm just going to shift with one simple question.
Okay.
And if you could tell us, how come you have your own fashion line?
I guess for a lot of reasons. For just personal reasons, I like working for myself. I like making my own schedule. I like creating my own things. And then for more of the specific reasons for this kind of line, you know, it's all about helping women to accept themselves as they are right now. Women's negative self-image is something that I feel really strongly about, and I realized a little over a year ago that I could use my skills as being able to make clothes to help fix that problem. And so I started the collection last February of customizable clothes for women of all sizes, from extra small through 6X, and then everything can be customized specifically for someone's body.
You said you started your collection 1 year ago, but I know that you had this idea in mind way back, right?
Well, yes and no. I've been doing fashion since I was in high school, so well over 10 years. And my best friend who helps me with my line remembers me saying to her in high school that I wanted to make clothes for everybody. I don't specifically remember saying that quote to her, but I mean, I believe her. But
no other choice.
Right, yeah. I believe that I said that. I don't remember saying it. But I did make, you know, when I was in high school, I made clothes for her, and for anyone. I never thought like, oh, I'm only going to make clothes for somebody who's a size 2. That just never entered my mind. It seemed kind of silly.
Okay, so 1 year from last year when you actually opened your own collection, what are your reflections on having a company?
That's a good question. It's definitely really rewarding. I would say that it's probably most rewarding because of the message. I think that if I just had a clothing line, just of pretty clothes that were in small, medium, and large, and that's the end, it wouldn't really be the same.
Right.
A lot of the experiences I have with customers and with even just friends of mine and people that I know that I make things for are really what makes it worthwhile, because they're just so excited to put something on that just automatically fits them, because it takes out all of that negative aspect of trying to figure out, oh, how can I get something to fit within that, like, internal, oh, what's wrong with me because my clothes don't fit, instead of what's wrong with this clothing item. Yeah, and it's, you know, it's not, a lot of people focus body positivity as being, you know, just for plus size women, because plus size women are definitely marginalized and don't have very many options. But the idea of loving yourself and struggling to love yourself is something that every woman of every size deals with. And over the summer I did a video where I interviewed women in Union Square in Manhattan, and I asked them all, what is the one thing about your body that makes it hard for you to shop? And every single one of them had something to say. Whether they were a size 2, whether they were a size 26, whether they were young, whether they were old, every single woman had something to say that
Every
made it,
single woman.
all of them.
Right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, that's something I wanted to ask you about, because you had your own campaign.
Yes.
Or you still have Measure Me Beautiful, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so Measure Me Beautiful is a campaign that I started. It's also co-run with Sydney Stone of Stylophile, which is a body-positive fashion blog. And basically the idea is to promote the idea that it's okay to know your measurements. It's actually important to know them. And you shouldn't be afraid of them. There's nothing that you can get off of a measuring tape that has anything to do with what you're worth, how amazing you are, how talented you are, how smart you are. All it does is say, this is how big or small I am, this is how much fabric is needed. It's just information, it's just numbers. And so basically we're empowering women by measuring them and telling them their measurements, making sure they know. Over the summer, we did 2 different pop-up events outside, one in Madison Square Park and one in McCarran Park in Brooklyn, where we just stopped women on the street and said, can we measure you? We'll give you a free tank top. And we'd get, I handmade about like 100 tank tops.
Wow.
That were one of the tanks that I sell in my collection. And it said Measure Me Beautiful on the front, and then on the back it had slots for their measurements. And so we'd measure them and we'd write their measurements down, and then they would wear the tank top. And we all had them on with our measurements on the back. And it was just a really great day, both of those days. And you get so many mixed reactions. You get.
Yeah, I'm wondering, what sort of reactions would you get?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a handful of people who just refuse to do it, like women who are just have so ingrained that they're terrified of their own bodies and they refuse to know their measurements, which I understand why it happens, but it's, when you think about it, it's a little bit retroactive, because how are you ever going to buy clothes if you don't know what size, if you don't know what size you are? You need to know. A lot of people were surprised, mostly because no one has any idea what size they are, and most people are pleasantly surprised. You know, we always assume the worst, whatever that means. But overall it was really fun. There was a lot of women who were really happy to know and really excited that somebody was doing something about it.
And how did it look on social media? Because I also know that girls would be encouraged to take photos and send them to you. Right.
So then, going off of that, we started basically a Measure Me Beautiful challenge where you take it can be a selfie, it can be a photo that you already have of yourself, either or, and you measure yourself, and then you put those numbers on the photo. So then you post it either on Facebook or Instagram. You add the hashtag Measure Me Beautiful, and you tag our company, SmartGlamour, or Stylophile, which is Sydney's blog. And then we compile all of those. They go up on the website. I usually reshare them. And they're always really well received. Other women love to see that another woman has similar measurements than them, especially when they look different, because it's very possible to have the exact same measurements of someone and look completely different from them because of height, because of proportions. It happens all the time. So women will be like, oh, I have the same measurements as you. You look amazing. I must look amazing, kind of that thing. And so every month, we actually just gave away the February winner. The first Friday of every month, we randomly draw a name from all of the submissions, and they win a gift card to SmartGlamour, courtesy of Stylophile.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you plan any other campaigns in the future?
As of right now, we don't have another campaign set up. We're definitely going to continue running with Measure Me Beautiful. Sydney and I just quickly talked the other day about creating a hashtag just for our upcoming fashion show. Whenever I post things for my company, I always write Fashion for All, because I think that is the most succinct way to explain what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So we were thinking maybe, doing Runway for All for the runway show, but that's not really a campaign.
Yeah.
Just a hashtag.
But I know you have a lot of plate anyway, and you have quite an exciting time ahead of you.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, definitely. So we just shot our spring lookbook on Sunday. We always use models, which I put in quotes because some of them are definitely amateur and aspiring models, and some of them are friends of mine or family members of mine who have never modeled for anyone else other than me, and I just said, you're doing this. And they are from every size that I can find. Usually, I make clothes for extra small through 6X. Most of the time I have that range within my models. I think this time I had extra small through 5X, I believe, but
Okay.
and it's any age range. I have no age restrictions, no weight restrictions, no height restrictions. And then I often try to put the same outfit on 2 different body types. For example, you'll see in the lookbook I have a maxi dress that is on a girl who's about an extra small and 5 foot tall, very, very tiny, and then a girl who's 6 foot tall and a 2X, 3X. And they're wearing the same dress. They both look awesome. And so then the next thing that's coming up is our fashion show, which is going to be next Friday, February 20th,
Mm-hmm.
the Lower East Side at a really great art gallery. And that's going to be showing that collection with 2 editions. Because we have a body positive blogger flying out from Arkansas to be in the show, and then we're also flying out Ellie Mayday to close out the show. She's a body positive activist, plus size model, and cancer survivor.
Wow.
She's a really great human being. She's a great model, and so we're hiring her to come close out the show. And then the next exciting thing after that is that we're opening a 3-month-long pop-up shop from March 6th to May 30th. It's going to be on 9th Street in the East Village between 1st Avenue and Avenue A. And it's going to be the first and only New York City boutique where women of every size, every shape, every age can come in, they can buy the same clothes, they can all try it on in the same store. There's no, here's the plus size section, here's the small section, everything is together. Everything is the same design, the same price. And then not only can they buy those things, but they can also get them customized if they want, all for an affordable price. And during that time period, we're going to have a lot of weekly events. Basically things to just make sure that it's not just a store, but it's a well-rounded experience of empowerment and education, and a comforting place for women to come and experience things. So we're going to have more fun nights like blogger shopping events, trunk shows with other designers, and then we're going to have panel discussions and some speakers and some a self-confidence class and things like that.
That seems really like a lot of planning has been done.
Yes.
How long did it take you to come up with the idea and then execute it?
So basically I came up with the idea. I've always had the end goal to have a store, but I knew that it would take me a really long time to be able to work up to that point. A store real estate in New York City is incredibly expensive. I do this all by myself, so that seemed so far away, and I'm a very impatient person, so I came up with the idea to have a pop-up shop, because in New York City that's a way more achievable thing. And so I created a whole business plan, figured it out, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to hire a PR manager. I'm going to have all these events. I'm going to do paid promotions with different body positive bloggers. I'm going to buy all the fabric instead of, previously everything's been made to order and I'm like run to the store, buy what I need, use it, kind of a thing. Now I have rolls of fabric and it's different game. But so yeah, I came up with the idea maybe late summer, early fall, like not that long ago. Got all of that together and then got the funding for it like end of December, early January. And then I've just been rolling since then, so it's been like a month.
What are your reflections on having a company?
That's a good question. It's definitely really rewarding. I would say that it's probably most rewarding because of the message. I think that if I just had a clothing line, just of pretty clothes that were in small, medium, and large, and that's the end, it wouldn't really be the same.
Right.
A lot of the experiences I have with customers and with even just friends of mine and people that I know that I make things for are really what makes it worthwhile, because they're just so excited to put something on that just automatically fits them, because it takes out all of that negative aspect of trying to figure out, oh, how can I get something to fit within that like internal, oh, what's wrong with me because my clothes don't fit, instead of what's wrong with this clothing item.
What was it like for you to start a company?
It was exciting. It was kind of the same way that I just described to you, about this new venture that I'm doing. I came up with the idea for the company. The first thing that I did was I gathered a group of my girlfriends who are all motivational to me in some way, and I invited them to all come out for a drink with me, and I sat them all down, and I said, this is my idea. Questions, comments? Everyone was excited about it. Everybody had something to say, whether it was a question or a comment. Took their feedback, thought about it, and then I started a Indiegogo campaign to raise money. I filmed a little video on my now fiance's iPhone in this room explaining what I wanted to do, you know, posted it up on Indiegogo, and I raised about $4,000. With that, I bought some extra sewing machines, an extra dress form. I used it for fabric for the show, for the venue space for a show. I think I came up with the idea in like November, raised the money in January, February. No, raised the money in December, January, launched the collection in February. I told my friends, yeah, so this is what I'm doing. And I basically just came up with a date and said this is when the show is gonna be. Now I've told everyone, well, now done. I have to do it. And luckily I'd already had, I've already had the name of my company since college because I had to come up with a brand for a project, and this is the name that I came up with, and
So people were familiar already?
Well, not necessarily they were familiar with it, but like I've had it as an idea of a brand name for a while, and I had already had the website domain for it. At the time it was just the blog. Yeah. And then we turned it into a full working website with e-commerce and everything, and all of that launched on the same day.
Wow. So. Which actually calls for a question, because nowadays, not everybody, but many people would use Indiegogo or Kickstarter or any other platforms to raise money. Could you tell us a little bit more about your experience, and what are your advices for people who would like to start a campaign?
So I did 2 campaigns. I did the launch campaign on Indiegogo, and then about 6 months in, I did a very small campaign just to kind of kickstart my fall collection, and I used GoFundMe for that. As far as like getting it done quickly, getting your money quickly and ease, GoFundMe is definitely easier. I would say that Indiegogo and Kickstarter are better for very large campaigns.
Okay.
I have a lot of friends who are female entrepreneurs for different businesses, and they've done Indiegogos and Kickstarters and raised like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm definitely not that skilled at that. I only raised $4,000, which is still what start, I needed. Yeah. It's more than I had asked for, so that's definitely a win. But I would say that the key to it is having a good video that explains clearly what you want to do, why it matters, explaining it again in the content of the campaign, and then just sharing it all over the place and getting your friends to share it, your family to share it. If you can, getting some kind of press, a blogger to share it, somebody on social media to share it, something like that. Social media is one of the biggest reasons my company exists, because it's basically free advertising. So if you use it correctly, it definitely helps.
Do you know if many, how can I put it, do you know if many people, not only your friends, supported your campaign, or was it just your friends and family members?
So there were a couple strangers that that I've never met, that I'm not sure exactly how they found the campaign. Like, I know that on Indiegogo they do promote campaigns every once in a while. I don't think mine was ever promoted on the front page or anything like that, but you can just like search fashion campaigns on Indiegogo and you can find some. So there were a couple strangers. It was a lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of friends of friends, friends of family, old coworkers, etc., old bosses, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely mostly people in my life, yeah.
Since you're a one-person company, you also deal with PR yourself.
So up until right now, yes, I have. I just hired a PR manager who started February 1st, and she'll be with me through the entirety of the pop-up shop.
Okay.
Up until that point, I've done all PR myself. I just recently hired 2 design assistants to help me. I just recently hired a part-time social media assistant who works from the other side of the country to help me a little bit with like Pinterest and Twitter, the type of social media that if you're not posting constantly, it doesn't go anywhere, and I just don't have time for that. And then this whole time since May, I've had a very good friend of mine helping me just on her own free will because she loves me and she loves what I'm doing. And she helps me mostly with like event coordinating. She's at the photo shoot, coordinating everything. But she also every once in a while will send an email for me. You know, if I say she had written a press release for us, and then, you know, I'll find a publication and say, I'd really love to get in this publication. Here's the angle that I'm looking at. Can you kind of draft something up for me? And she'll blast out an email. But when I started, and kind of at the same time as her, I'm always reaching out to people, finding bloggers to collaborate with, finding different blogs and different publications that I can guest write for, just basically anything to link back to SmartGlamour to get people talking about it. And I think that one of the best ways that worked was I went to an event from the organization Girls Right Now, Right spelled like WRITE, which is a mentorship program for young girls to write. And I went to a benefit of theirs because I heard Gloria Steinem would be there, and I wanted to meet her. And so I went. My friend volunteered at the event, so I was there as a guest. She was there behind the scenes. I did get to meet Gloria Steinem, but we got to meet a lot of really amazing people that were either working the event with her or that I just met for being there. And she met a girl who was also volunteering, who's a freelance writer, who does some writing for Medical Daily, who agreed to do a piece on me. We had a quick phone interview. She put a piece together. It then just got shared all over the place. My alma mater, Pratt Institute, they shared it. And then it just kind of spiraled from there. And then a couple weeks later, my best friend, who's originally from Florida, texted me and said, my friend in Florida just said he heard about you on the radio. Wow. And basically what happened was the Medical Daily article got shared by an LA fashion magazine and then somehow made its way to ABC News in New York. They mentioned it on their radio, and then that got picked up and got mentioned in a radio station in Arizona, which then got picked up and got mentioned in a radio station in Florida.
Wow, amazing.
And that all just happened because, you know, I went to an event, I made friends with the girl, she offered to write a piece, and it just kind of just went from there.
So I guess it's good to be proactive, basically.
Oh, you have to be proactive, absolutely. Yeah, it's my fiance likes to tell people that, you know, I'm addicted to this. I do it all the time. If I'm not sewing, I'm doing social media. If I'm not doing social media, I'm answering emails. I'm basically working from when I wake up to when I go to sleep.
Tell us, what does your typical day look like?
So nowadays my typical day looks like waking up, doing all my emails, posting in social media. I usually have an assistant come over for 4 or 5 hours, usually in the middle of the day. And we'll both be working in here. They're usually cutting or making a pattern for me, cutting out fabric, and then I am either sewing and or working on my computer while they're working, and we're like taking up this entire little room, getting stuff done. They leave, I continue to work into the night, whether it's sewing or computer work or social media. I post to Instagram and Facebook about 3 or 4 times a day. I'm just basically constantly
busy
doing something. Yeah. Even if I go out too, I always have like my phone or sometimes my little tablet with me so that if I have to email somebody or I have to fix something from the back end of the website, I can do that.
Great. Could you tell us a little bit about your challenges? Because it all sounds great, and it is great, and I love the idea as well. But I'm sure you had maybe not some moments of doubt, but they were like some challenging situations.
I mean, it's not easy. It's great and I love it, but it's by no means easy. I'm tired pretty much all the time. I never really get enough sleep. I take a lot of naps. I often have to get reminded by my fiance that sometimes you need to sit down and have something to eat. Yeah. Have some water. Don't be focusing your eyes so much on screens and sewing because it's, you know, not the best. I try to take, you know, like half a day off or a day off if I can every once in a while so I don't go crazy, but that is difficult to do too. And then for a long time it was just difficult because you know, this is a company that I run by myself. I put all of the money into it myself, aside from the campaigns that I mentioned.
Yeah.
And so up until now, up until this new venture has started, had another job. I was a freelancer. So I did custom tailoring, custom illustrations. I worked part-time in stores for other companies. I did illustrations for design companies. I was all over the place. So that was just like a whole extra job on top of my job.
Yeah.
Which was definitely really hard.
What advice would you give to people who are willing to start a company, or they started but they start doubting themselves?
I think the biggest piece of advice that I can have or give is to just you have to believe in whatever kind of company you have. You have to believe in the message behind the company. I think it's a lot harder for people to have motivation for a company that's, you know, just for whatever sake. Just, you know, like I was explaining before, if I was just making clothes to make clothes, it would be a lot harder to get press, it would be a lot harder to keep going, but because of the amazing feedback that I get from people who are like, you're changing my life, then, you know, it makes it worth being tired all the time.
Yes.
So I would definitely, if you're going to start a company, it needs to be something that you're passionate about. Because then it's not going to feel like work when you're up until all hours of the night, sometimes not sleeping. And also to surround yourself with people who are really supportive of you. If there are people in your life who like don't really get it, or negative, I would say, I don't know, cut them out of your life, but, you know, don't spend all your time with them. Spend your time with the people who think what you're doing is awesome and want to help you no matter what, and who champion you, and who tell you to sit down and have a glass of water and remind you to eat, and who really believe in you, because when you're surrounded by people who believe in you, it's a lot easier to believe in yourself.
I guess. I think we're going to end on this positive note, so
Okay.
thank you for the time.
Yeah, thank you so much.